What we're thinking for the presentation for the tool that's going to enable the behavior that we're seeking is to look at a couple other tools that have emerged from simple forms. So the one that comes to mind is Twitter. Really just want to take us through a little history of Twitter, what's happened from Twitter, and how we can sort of use those lessons to apply to the GYC. So Twitter essentially, in essence, is this box. It's a box for your text, and it's a button to put that text online. Now, what's interesting is from those simple rules, a really complex social behavior has emerged. So we have this box as a starting point. Next, we realize that, so there's a lot of different tweets or messages going about. So we had this notion of a favorite, which is a metaphor borrowed from computing, from browsers. We save favorites when we want to remember a web page. And we apply this to Twitter, so that reduces the amount of tweets and it allows us to filter them. Next, we apply a metaphor from email. So when I want to talk to a person, I put an @ symbol there, and they know who I'm talking at. So I say @ and then their username. And what that allows is it allows me to see the messages that are from me. It allows me to see the messages that are about me or to me. And it also allows me to see my influence. So the messages that are retweeted that also have my name. Retweeting is another phenomenon that happens when somebody likes a message, they retweet it or make sure that it says via a username. So you can actually see those chains of influence going through the system. So then we have the hashtag, which is basically a topic. When I want to talk about a topic, let's say it's a project or an event that I'm at, I'll put a hashtag in front of it so that I can say to other people I'm intentionally talking about this issue because I'd like to know who else is talking about this issue. That hashtag actually comes from IRC, which is a sort of older chat form that basically computer geeks used to use, and hashtag symbolized the different topics. And then there's the web link. So there's HTTP. When I say HTTP : box that we had before, that these patterns have emerged. So we have a hashtag for topics borrowed from IRC, an @ symbol for users borrowed from email, an HTTP for links borrowed from your web browser, and a star for favorites also borrowed from your web browser. Now, those metaphors were established, or use patterns were established because the user of Twitter was this geek. They're a web geek. And what we're looking at in the GYC is a different type of group. So it's silly for us to assume that this new type of person has the same needs or the same motivations as the web user does. So when we're talking about the GYC, what is collaborative, and we want to get things done. So we've come up with a couple ideas on how to take those base elements and center them around people actually getting things done. And what we've come up with is this idea of tasks. So you could call that an action as well, where there's a proposal and it's followed through, it's completed. There's also the notion of explanations. So an explanation is somebody on video or audio saying and explaining what they're talking about, and so it could be an idea, it could be a response to an action, and we'll get into that later. Then there's kudos, which is a form of appreciation. It says I value what has been done in one form or another, and again we'll touch on these later. And then finally an event, which has a date. So let's try to combine these different elements and look at how they come together. So if we combine a task with kudos, one thing that might come out of that is things I think should be done. So I can go through all the tasks that have been proposed. Again, an explanation could be an impetus for a project which people then add themselves to. So if I'm interested in a project via this explanation, then I add myself. Or it could be a way to add other people. So if I know somebody who could really help out with this project, I'd add them to the project. Secondly, we could see the recent updates that a person has done. So the person is what we're looking at, and then all of the recent updates are different explanations of whether they're starting projects or explanation of tasks or just updates on progress. Next, we talk about events and tasks. So what does it look like when we combine an event with a task? Well, there's the very simple one of a due date. So a task has a certain date that it needs to be done by, and we use an event to assign that. The second one is an event could also act as a project, whereby I propose an event, and there's a number of tasks within it that need to be done. So these basic elements, that we've come up with, are created around behaviors that we'd like to encourage. So this is a bit mixed up, but let me just... So the first behavior we'd like to encourage is the update. So tell us what your progress is, let us know how you're doing, so that we can actually watch other people in the community and get an idea of where we ourselves can help out. So you could see the update, and the different contexts for this update could be it could be while I'm walking. You know, if I have a phone with video, as many phones do, I could just video in my update. It could also be when I'm at my desk. So I could be talking to the metal eye of my computer, talking on YouTube, and saying what happened. I could also call in the update. So I could call it over the telephone or Skype, and I could do a text up. Gives us a certain amount of minutes. 25 minutes has been said to be a good time for a task to take. And then once we're done, we can complete it and say what we did. Also, during the task, we can post thoughts or notes along the way. We can also see what's on our plate. So, like what have we accepted we're going to do. Some tasks that have been suggested for us, and tasks that we've done have recently been appreciated. So we have this this update. This is seeing what people have done and whether you like it or not. And these really go together in that we can see the new updates in our network and for ourselves and the projects that we're involved in that are giving us tasks. So the next links in the right tasks with the right projects. So connecting people within this community. So to do that, we can show a number of events that are relevant to you, contacts that you have around, and we can show you recent explanations, and really just try to drag those people between and connect them with each other. And so the next behavior we want to encourage is assessment. So this is where it all comes together and benefits a funder. So we can get a backlog of all the tasks that have been done and see at a specific date who was doing what, who pulled their weight, and who didn't. So for an assessor or a funder, this is a really helpful tool to have. And just a little bit more of a look, so we can pull the timeline around. We can see based on that where the activity is happening, and we can ask questions for clarification reasons about the different things that have happened. What is this meeting about? Explaining that. And then finally, the final one that pulls it all together is the inspiration piece. And what we're saying is this is a beautiful film. So it's a beautiful film that both profiles the people involved in this process of working together in their community, and it also gets other people inspired to get involved as well, suggesting that it also is followed up by an event so that people can watch this film and then get in touch with the people who have helped out or the people who are really acting in the local community. So this is the phase where everything comes together, and it's a really good public face for these types of initiatives and this community. So thanks for listening to that paper point, and I hope you enjoyed it.